what are some of our laws and what exactly can we exactly do to really make it by the end of this year, 2022. Now, I want to acknowledge, just like many other people have shared in the chat box, I want to acknowledge that currently everyone is facing an increase in terms of their cost of living because the prices are going high every day. Fuel is high, food prices have been high in the last couple of months, and many things are really happening. But the question should be, is this something that should stop us from going a longer journey when it comes to our personal finances, or it is something that we can work within? Why? Because we don't know when this will actually come to an end. I think we have gone through a couple of days, especially from the start of this decade, from when 2020 came through. We had 2021 come through. We saw 2022 start, and we thought this would all be our year of catching up. And here we are into such circumstances. So why the review is very important is because if we don't do anything right now, it's much likely that we'll end this year without nothing much to really be proud about. And that's why we start this conversation right now to see how can we evaluate our past journey. Now, as we can see that despite many people having challenges along this journey, we are seeing that some people have had wins. I like the fact that one person has shared that they've been able to open up different accounts for their children. They've been able to acquire land. And we are seeing people who have been able to commit to their saving goals, even amidst the rising prices. Now, to you who is struggling on whatever aspect you're struggling on, yours is to come back and try to reflect and say, if others have been able to make it, then what is really stopping me from actually moving? You know, sometimes when we see prices going up, there's this kind of mindset that just draws us off our goals. Even if you had planned to say, I'm going to save 500,000, when you see that things are not going on well, you find that even 200,000 becomes a challenge. Yet if you just adjusted maybe on your goal and say, since things are not going on well, let me now stick to a much less amount, but at least have something along the journey. If it was 500, can I bring it down to 300? Can I maybe make it 400? Whatever it is, based on your scenarios, then you can be able to see what exactly to do. Now, one of the things that I also see when it comes to the sharings that have been shared by different people here, I think we are more speaking about the aspects of saving. And I just want to start a conversation with us today that we know that prices have gone high. And the person who is feeling the pinch most is the person whose income has remained the same. Now, most of us who are on this call, we are employed, and that one has no doubt in it. We are employed, and most of our income is the salary that comes in. So if this is the salary that is coming in, and this salary is not changing, what does this do to our financial goals? We find ourselves struggling, and we shall continue to struggle on our financial goals because things continue to get worse and worse every day. Our conversation should also now look into aspects of how can we increase our income? And I like the fact that one participant has been able to bring in the idea of they had a plan of starting up their consultancy firm, but they have been challenged when it comes to aspects of time. Now, you who is listening in, part of your financial goals should include an aspect of generating an income. What exactly are you going to do to make sure that your income grows as well? Now, your salary might have a cap on it that may not be able to grow because your company is also struggling with its costs, and it's highly unlikely that they will actually be paying a salary increment. So what is it that you actually exactly doing? And that is when we want to reflect. So we want to reflect on the side of expenditure, on the side of saving, on the side of investment, but also on the side of generating an income. So as I go through this session, I want you to just reflect, because we're going to have an interactive session just in a few minutes to come. Just try to get down, and if like I liked somebody who said, if you can actually write down some of these things, it's very important. Just reflect about your incomes versus your expenditures. What exactly has changed along the journey? Okay, that's very important. And whenever you're making your personal finance reflections, remember you had your finance goals of where you want to actually be. Now, this is a point in time where you say, as end of 30th June 2022, where am I now when it comes to my goals? What exactly is not working? What is exactly working well? What is yet to work well? And what am I going to basically do differently? And at the end of the day, you also have the perspective of how you want this year to end, because that fed into your financial goals for this year. Maybe you had planned to finish your house, you had planned to go back to school, you had planned to set up an education kind of fund for children, you had planned to leave renting and, let's say, maybe go to your house or buy a house, whatever you had planned. Or even when it came to, let's say, maybe you plan to create some investments along the journey, as well as even your saving culture, you wanted to, say, improve it. So what exactly is happening right now? It's very good to sit down and reflect and see how you can strategize on where you actually want to be, and understanding what you actually need to actually get there. So all of us, I know we have financial goals. Some of you have written them down. Some of you have them in their mind, because everyone who is in search of the money knows exactly what they want to use the money for. So a time like this is to ask yourself, do the goals you set in January still matter to you now? And that happens because situation has changed, and there could be also something that has changed in your life. Now, I just want to use this picture, and I believe you can see something on the screen. So despite how everything has gone economy-wise, we have seen a lot of changes in people's lives. Some people have gotten jobs, some people have gotten new children in their family, some people have gotten married, some people have started up investments like maybe construction projects, people have started up new businesses, people have bought land, people have graduated from school, people have started up different projects that are bringing in income to them. Now, once you're doing your reflection of what has worked well, even before you actually look at the negative side of things, because you need a motivation, that internal motivation, say, despite how things have gone, I've actually been able to at least save 100,000 per month. And that is not that's something that you didn't do last year. So be proud of yourself. It could be land that you finished buying, or you finished the balance, or you started on a project this year. It's something that you need to be proud of. You know, sometimes when we feed ourselves with negative energy of things are not going on well, the economy is struggling, prices are increasing, we find ourselves that even the small wins that would have given us the fuel to actually push harder for new goals or for new achievements, we find ourselves draining. Now, in your what has your worked well, you can see that we have an aspect of life change. Now, as your life changes, means that it will have a big impact on your goals. Now, some of you are saying, I was not able to save as per what I had planned, but the reason why you may not have been able to save to that extent may be because of a life change that you have not yet realized, that this life change has affected of how I spend. And so I need to be able to readjust and see how can I be able to retune myself to be able to at least achieve my financial goals, or achieve my adjusted financial goals. And by the way, this is a good time also to, like we've seen, if your financial goals don't make meaning right now, it's good for you to sit down and refine them, make them workable for you, because you set up kind of financial goals that you thought you were going to achieve, but things have changed. So what exactly are you now going to fine tune to, without aspect of saying, I'm giving up, I'm not going to do anything, things are hard, having this kind of mindset that things are not good, you end up there without anything that you have either saved or invested to. And the notion is things have not been good. And you get to realize that as though things were not good, there are many people that have been able to make progress when it comes to their personal finances. So it's very, very good. And of course, understanding that it's not just what has worked well, but also looking at what investments have you been able to make in the past month. I know that despite how circumstances have been, it's not just about our savings, but also what kind of investments have you been able to make? Apart from the investments that we are seeing on this page, because some of these are investments like construction projects, the business projects, land, but what investments have also made in areas like unit trusts, maybe treasury bills, maybe shares, life insurance, good for those that were able to buy some shares with MTN. I saw messages of dividends coming through, people who have been able to sign up for different insurance policies and so on, and also those that have been able to save with different unit trusts. Now, as we've seen that as some people are struggling when it comes to the aspect of saving, other people have gone for different ways of how to make sure that they are more committed, a more disciplined way of approach to their saving. And one of the, as shared, one of the approaches is to sign up a standing order. Maybe this is going to your saving account, or this is going to your maybe a unit trust that you have signed up, maybe with Zeno or UAP or Jubilee, whatever you've chosen to do so, including your life insurances and so on. So very important for us, but also it's also very good for us to appreciate the dynamics that we are living in. I know for some people, as we speak of this, some of these things don't make sense to you because one, you either struggling in debt, you have taken loans and over loans. And why we have gotten to such circumstances because our income again continues to not to grow amidst our expenses growing every day. So you find that even before your salary comes to your account, you already have lined up debts to actually pay. So you could be stressed in such a circumstance. And don't think about yourself as somebody who is alone in this situation. Many people are going through this situation, especially during this time. You could have either lost jobs. Companies are now looking for ways of how to drop off costs. And one of the things that they are doing is they are laying off staff. The other could be you are sick yourself and medical bills have taken a good portion of your savings, or you have a sick person. You could be in business and business is low. And at the end of the day, your bills are also getting high, like everyone else, because of the escalating bills. So with that in mind, you need to now think of, despite whatever I'm going through, despite my wins, despite my lows, what exactly am I going to do? Now, also understanding that our future, we cannot tell of our future. The 6 months might have been a cruise for you. You have cruised well in the last 6 months, but then the next 6 months might be something that you didn't expect. You could lose a job in these next 6 months, by the way. You could enter into debt because things might get out of hand and you have no option. You could get sick, God forbid. Your business might be running right now, and it could have challenges in the next 6 months. So as we are also reflecting and we are planning for the next 6 months, we also should have this in mind that the future is uncertain. And that means that as we plan our goals, as we continue with our goals, we have to caution ourselves in terms of what can happen tomorrow. And this is also good for you too, who has not maybe done anything in the last 6 months, to say that despite of how things are actually running, despite of how prices are increasing and so on, I need to have this in mind that things can turn around and have no option but find ways of how to survive. And that means that these situations don't know about escalating prices. They don't know about the high cost of living. You have to make sure that you sell within. And that's why it's very important to start immediately at the start of this month, to understand that I'm now having a refined journey when it comes to my personal finance goals. and knowing that despite how the economy is, I need to be able to achieve something for there. So I felt like I should share more of this, just to first open up your mind so that it can try to direct our discussion. Now, I've gotten some of the questions that Darius has asked me to basically share with you as I respond. I think we've seen that people have been able to help us when it comes to saving. Now, like I said, one of the reasons why some of us may not be able to save as how we plan or as how we wish is because we have left our saving discipline within our hands. You basically choose when to save and not to save. I'll tell you myself that from the time I learned that I can be able to save this in a disciplined manner with a standing order, every time I set a financial goal regarding to saving, I'll immediately have sort of a standing order. For example, I save with my work circle. We have a circle at work. So I made sure that this is the amount of money that I want to save in such a circle. So this is deducted immediately, even before I receive my salary. The same thing with some of my other investments that I'm trying to also look into. Once my money hits my account, the goal is also to ensure that before I even do the spending, this money is getting off automatically of my account. At the end of the day, what I remain with, I can be able to survive within it because I have no option. But whenever you leave that gap for you to be able to choose whether to save or not save, you find yourself not being able to, of course, be disciplined, but as well as also understanding that we need to improve on how we earn. Not only just think about saving, but also finding ways of how to use the little we have as an investment to create new cash flows that can help us to be able to save more and be able to meet our goals. So one of the questions that I just want to comment in before I again allow you to come in and we have this reflection, I think was from Innocent, who says he had a goal of putting more effort into a side small consultancy firm alongside his daily office job, but he has failed because of time management. And again, I want to agree with Innocent because I know that most of us are doing jobs where we are taken up because of time. And one of the things that I would really share with Innocent that has worked for me is sometimes it's about prioritization. If you say that I have to do this, if you say I have to ensure that maybe the weekend is dedicated to growing my projects, then you work within that, but also understanding that you can find a support system that can be able to help you. These days, we also have, of course, the online space gives us an advantage that you can be able to consult with a client. You don't need to look to go to the customer's place. You don't need to say maybe set up an office where the customer will find you. You can be able to do most things online. So I want you to leverage on the online space. Very important, especially for you as a consultant, because as long as you're well acquainted with your knowledge, you know very well that you can be able to find support. You can be able to find your clients and serve them remotely, but as well as also create time. Despite your busy schedule, create time because this is your goal. This is an income that you're trying to create. So make sure that you create that time, just like the way you've said that you are going to create more time in the next 6 months. Try to do that. And if you can find support on such key areas, it's very important because many people are doing such things. So you too can be able to do it as well. And I think one of the things that also was asked here, maybe I need help with debt management. Again, I want to say that the reason why we are going to find ourselves going into debt and debt over time is the aspect of having a single source of income, because you have a single source of income that is not growing, but your bills are growing every day because we don't have control over our bills. The bills are growing every day. The rent that you used to pay of a given amount has now increased. The transport, the boda that you used to use, that you used to take you for 5K is now asking for 10K because things have changed. So I want to encourage you to live a frugal life. By frugality, I mean look into your expenses and look at things. We have two classes of expense. We have what we call needs and we have what we call wants. Look at things that you need that you cannot dwell with, and look at things that you really desire, but that you can really dwell with. And it's a time that you now start to avoid some of the things that you feel you just desire them, but you can dwell with them, because at the end of the day, you want to make sure that as you're living the life, you also want to make sure that you're not, again, affecting your aspirations. Because if you want to live the life, if you want to eat to whatever places you want to go to, you want to buy whatever you want to buy, even things that you don't need, you find yourself in circumstances where you're just living for today and not planning for tomorrow. So that is very, very important. So I just want to open the session, and again, I will be coming in to answer some of the questions that I've not yet tapped into, just to help us reflect a little more. So before I get off, I want to ask a question. Based on your circumstances, based on how things are running right now, how are you managing, especially in the increasing prices? What are some of the strategies that you're using right now to be able to continue with achieving your goals? And maybe this we would love to see how each one of us is actually working within this current situation to be able to attain our goals. And what do you think somebody can do different in the next 6 months? So I'd like to open the session, and I've seen some comments coming through. I think Julius made a comment here. And we also have Dimigisha, who says that managing finances is the decision one has to make despite what other people think. Some decisions are very tough, like having to sell off a car and put kids in boarding school. You hustle for life for like a year or two as one gets back on their feet. Even if salary is to increase, it may not commensurate this inflation. I think I would agree with her. And that's where the frugality comes in, where you say that since fuel has increased, I can no longer afford the car, I can actually board the taxi and get to work until when things get back into the picture. When I know that I now have an income that can cater for my fuel and I can be able to survive. So thank you so much, Dimigisha, for sharing. So you can be able to unmute and be able to share. We are trying to reflect, especially in the aspect of how we can survive in this changing financial situation, especially with the increasing cost of living. So if in case you want something to share, you can put up your hand, or you can be able to share in the chat box, and then we can be able to hear from you. And also, in case you have a question, you can also be able to drop the question, and you can be able to reflect on it as well. Anyone would like to, you can unmute, okay? Please unmute. Julius, the cleaner, you can unmute and speak.
Hi, everyone.
Hi, Julius.
Thank you very much. My name is Julius, the cleaner. So far, I set goals, and mine was about cash flow. But there is something I realized as the economy keeps on changing day and night. There is only one thing that can help us improve or control our finances. One, and I think it is the main one, is having more than one source of income. There are certain things that we look at, and they look cheap. Sorry, they look cheap, or they look of low but at the end of the day, they bring in income. Once they bring in income every day, you realize that it helps you to accumulate, to control your finances. I'll give you an example. I had a sister of mine. I promised to give her a business. They have a fridge home. So I was like, she wanted to start ice cream, selling these ice creams. These ice creams of Veras for chukumi chukumi. And I realized that that can help us at least to bring in 5,000 a day. And guess what? That ice cream, if we put in 5,000, we get a profit of 5,000 after selling, and she can sell ice cream for 10,000 in a day. So you realize that there are some people whose salary is 10,000, or it is 450 if you calculate it on a monthly basis. But if you give someone an extra effort to do work, and you get that extra 5,000 on a daily basis, you realize that you can control your finances. That 5,000 might look small, but it can help you to either to pay electricity bills, either to pay water bills and something. So if you have, let me say, if you have ice cream, you have paper bags, if you have those small incomes, but which are done by someone else, they can help you to improve on your finances, and you live. You don't live the burden of maybe either the debt where you would have gone for a debt. You realize that you have 5,000 or 3,000 from here, 3,000 from here. At the end of the day, if you have 5 sources of income, even if they are bringing in 5,000 in a day, realize that you have 25 a day, which if compiled and managed well, you realize that it's really big sum of money. That's what I had to share. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Julius. And I believe that Julius is not any different from many people that have a similar perspective. I'll tell you that myself, part of the things that I'm also doing, and part of how I manage, especially the escalating prices, is because being able to create different income streams, where I know that this year I'm not just looking at my salary, I'm not just looking at already my existing sources of income, but every day I'm thinking of how can I use the little money that I have to create more income. And I would want to tell you that on everyday basis, you see some money coming through, and however little it could actually be, you find yourself that money can actually buy, let's say, consumables at home. It can be able to help take care of your fuel. It can be able to take care of, let's say, of your medical bills when you need to be. And you find yourself in circumstances where you don't have to borrow every time you have a financial challenge, because you have an option B. So very good to share that. Someone who is using Techno Common 18i says, I agree with you. Beside my salary and other things that I do, I sell pancakes, and this has helped me a lot to save. Very brilliant to know about that. And Olga also said, cutting off unnecessary. I think just like we said, and again, Binksy's vlog also shares the same, saying, try to remanage your expenses. I think most of us are struggling when it comes to our personal finance because we have failed to sit down, look deep into our expenses, see the things that are taking our money, and see how we can be able to avoid certain things that we feel we don't need. We just spend on them because we have to spend on them, either to impress others, either because we want to look better, yet we're actually not there. So if we look into such aspects and know that we are making sure that whatever we are spending on our money should actually be spent on. And we are also looking for, I like the approach of one person here who shared that they buy things in bulk. I think if there's anything that has also helped my personal financial journey is buying things in bulk, because when you buy things in bulk, you actually buy at wholesale. You basically get a discount And that discount, that saving that you're creating in that line helps you. For example, a bag of rice, let's say of 25 kgs, somebody might get it, let's say maybe at 80,000. That is a sack. But if somebody was actually buying this this kilo of rice every day, and maybe they're buying 25 kilos, they will end up paying less 100,000 in total. And this is just on a low end. And this is just an example. So you find that there's many things that you can save on, but because you want to buy one item by one item, you find yourself in circumstances where you're not saving anything. So I like the fact that we are also thinking about expenses, how we can manage them, remove the unnecessary, but also find ways of how to cut them. But as well as also think about how to increase our income to help us. So Julius, the cleaner again comes back to say, that you realize so many people have fridges at home, but underutilize them. Blenders and other things that can bring them money. You have a made at home fridge, which is already there, and that can already give you a business of juice and so on. So that is, I think, very good to hear from you. Dimigish also says, depending on where you live, you can rear chicken in the backyard. If you have some running around, you can make sales every weekend when neighbors get to know. I think this is very good and good to hear. I think I'll be again calling in my colleague Darius to come and help us to understand how we can be able to pick up with these ideas that we are seeing that are really flowing in. And I believe that whoever is listening in is trying to get an understanding that it's not just my house that is facing the increasing cost of living, but many people are facing the same, but are finding innovative ways of how to sail through at the end of the day. So I want to say that despite of how the situation is going, and I want to tell you that this situation is not changing anytime. Somebody who has seen how we have moved, especially in this country, you agree with me that the fuel we are taking right now will not go back to the 4,000 that we used to buy it. It will actually remain up there. So what happens with our earnings and so on? I know that most of us, like I said, depend on salary. And many companies, I think some companies that are a bit dedicated to especially aspects of staff welfare will be increasing salaries maybe in the next month. And to some people, when the salary increment comes in, the first thing you think about is increasing your expenditure, not think about where you can actually invest your money. And I like the fact that people are bringing ideas that don't take a lot of money, because mostly we could be hearing, I don't have enough money to start a business. But we can see that the ideas people are bringing are ideas that don't take much. Even if it's rearing chicken, you starting with, let's say, 2 of them or 3 of them, know that once maybe one lays eggs and able to hatch, you're able to get more, and every time your salary comes in, you increase, you build on it. So it's not just about starting from up there, but knowing that you can actually start small with what you have. And one of the things that I am encouraged is that most of us are professionals. So we have a certain skill that we have gained from our workplaces that we can actually be able to use to generate more income. Just as you're a marketing person of an entity, you can be able to market other products that are outside your company's portfolio. Just like you're a teacher at a school, you can be able to look for opportunities of coaching other kids, of parents. So we have a lot that is within our hands that can be able to help us refine and become much better. But as well as at the end of the day, also understanding that the expenses that we are incurring today, we have many expenses that we can actually dwell with and still survive. So these things, it's very important to be able to bring all that into perspective. So I want to welcome my colleague, Darius. I don't know if do we have any other hand? I think, Julius, that was your hand earlier on. Anyone would want to unmute and be able to share this as Darius comes in?
Thank you, Samuel. I'd seen a hand from Jamila.
Okay, I think Jamila, you could come through and share. It would be good to get your perspective on this. Thank you.
Hello. Thank you so much. What I wanted to share was, as much as we are looking at other things that we are spending on, like maybe the fuel, the food, there are utilities that we have not really focused on. For example, managing the water usage at home. I think we need to learn to pay attention. How is the water bill running? When they bring the bill, how does it look like? Is it fluctuating and why? Then the electricity, how much are we using in a month and why? So that you try to regulate that. So you'll find that when we don't look at these things, we might cut costs on the other end, but then these ones, which are variable, really are affecting us so much because they keep appearing, but then they are also fluctuating. Then when you look at the TV subscription, you find that someone is paying for DSTV and you actually don't need it. You're never home. The kids are probably full-time at school, but you have DSTV and maybe you're paying like 100,000 a month, and yet you can actually opt for free to air where you're not paying anything and you can still get all the local channels. So I think some of those things where we are finding that there is a loophole, it is something that you have to look into and try to tighten. Thank you.
All right, thank you so much. And before the rest comes, I just want to maybe comment on that sometimes we are looking for substantial changes in our financial life. We're looking for ways of how to save 500,000. You're looking for ways of how to, let's say, increase your income by 1 million. And we forget about the small steps that we can actually do and would give us a big advantage. Sometimes even saving 1,000 shilling on an item cumulatively could create a big impact on your financials. So when somebody shares about aspects of our utilities, I think it's very, very clear that cumulatively, when you're living that frugal life, you find yourself saving a lot because you're not just saving on TV, but your mind is now focused